What is up, you guys? I am back and I am happy to be back. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, fantastic weekend, whatever the case may be. I hope your day at work is good. Today, I'm talking about gaming. Why I'm talking about gaming? Interesting, you may ask, because it's a common sentiment and I feel like it's continuously growing. AAA publishers and giant gaming corporations are absolutely abysmal to the market. They need to either be shut down or completely reworked because they have a failure of understanding the consumer base. I am the consumer and so are you, and they are the providers. And if they cannot provide, why should we support? Truly, I'm not one for sitting around in a corner letting Sony spank me and take my money out my wallet, man. Just because they're Sony or Xbox. Oh, I grew up with them. So what? So what, bro? People dislike people they grow up with all the time. And that's just a part of life. People that are online telling you that you can't hate a company because they provided something good in the past, absolute ridiculousness. Absolutely you should criticize. Absolutely you should dislike. You should let them know that you dislike it. It's part of your freedom of speech. Shoot, it's part of just having an opinion. You may like how they treat people, but most people don't. Sony is a terrible company, and so is Xbox. And whenever Steam tries to provide something, they get clapped back. Oh, we gotta sue them. They're monopolizing the market. Shut up. Shut up. You know who monopolizes the market? PlayStation and Xbox. And then they make us pay for their mistakes, by the way. Because we always gotta pay for their terrible decisions. Look at Marathon. Sony put all this money into Bungie. Bungie takes a fat break. Just a bunch of DLC for Destiny 2. Destiny 2 being an anti-consumer game at its core. One, if you paid for it at release, you got fisted by Bungie and Sony. Because then it became a free-to-play game. And did you get a refund? Absolutely not. Did you get an in-game currency? Absolutely not. It just became free and you had to pay for it. So if you drop $60, oh well. You're the loser in this party. And people online are just be like, well, you made the mistake of buying a game on release. True that. But also, it's not their fault. Because these companies just pull the rug from under your feet and you gotta fall. And people want to point at you when you're on the ground. That's not fair, bro. Me and you are the gamers. We need to stand up against these companies and show them that we disapprove. And it's been working. This game right here, it's not necessarily a bad game. That's not why it's failing. You know why it's failing? Because Bungie and Sony continuously disrespected its player base. People will sit here and argue and sit around the topic about, oh, the game is ugly. It's not a bad game. It's entertaining, and there's clearly a little bit of a niche group of people that are going to play this game. Just like with 2K. It doesn't necessarily mean these games are terrible. It's about disrespecting the player base and expecting them to sit there again in a corner and get spanked and their wallet taken away with them and all the cash. Their player base has continuously dropped since the game came out. Started off at a peak player count, and I'm sure there was a ton of people that just wanted to try out the game. But it's been continuously dropping day in. Every single day, the top player counts drop. And I believe that it will just continue dropping, especially in April when Arc Raiders releases DLC. And guess what? That DLC be free. The skins provided you can earn without paying money. And you know what? Straight off the bat on launch day, Marathon has a $15 cosmetic pack. Oh boy, I wonder what that means for a year from now. That $15 pack is going to be a $100 pack. Did they give you guys free currency when you logged into the game? Did they give you free currency for pre-ordering the game? I honestly don't know. That might be something good. Oh, you pre-ordered, here's $1,500. I doubt they did that though. I didn't pre-order it. I did play the Server Slam, and I thought it was an alright game. Then again, I like extraction shooters for a little bit, but I can't just sit there and grind it over and over again. I'm more of a single player type dude, and that's just how I roll. But no, nothing negative if this is your type of game, dude. I completely understand. But knowing how they treated Destiny 2, you can only imagine how bad this is actually gonna get. When you got 15 battle passes, 3 new maps you can purchase. Oh, and that character, he's locked behind a paywall. That character costs you $25. Or you pre-order our next Destiny. That's how crazy these games are, bro. That's the type of expectation that they've set upon themselves. These games aren't bad because we're bad people and we're bad consumers and we're negative Nancy's. No, these games don't sell because they are disrespectful. At their core, their publishers and developers are disrespectful. Battlefield 6? Juggernaut of a game. First time in history it beat Call of Duty. You know why it did that? Because when people were there at launch, there was a feeling of respect. There was a feeling of, oh my goodness, they're listening to us. You know why this player count and review number has continuously dropped? Because the further the game has come along, EA and their slippery little fingers have come in, dirtied up the game with disrespectful things to treat their consumers like an open wallet. AI products. Why is this even a discussion? You have so many people, you pay all these people, and guess what? They still don't respect you? They don't respect all this money they got? They got so much money. Yet they want more and more and more. That's disrespectful just by nature. Look at Call of Duty. This has been one of the worst times in Call of Duty's whole history, bro. Not even Infinite Warfare did as bad. And people hated that game. In game, and this is all across Call of Duty. This isn't just Black Ops 7. 37,000 people peaked. Last time it's peaked was 3.3 years ago. And that's with every single Call of Duty attached. And I know games like Call of Duty and 2K sell substantially more on consoles. But when player bases drop on PC, it usually indicates a loss of interest or a feeling of disrespect, the game just getting worse. That's just the truth. I'm just basing it on the factual, objective data that games, when they drop in player base on PC, usually indicates the same sentiment on console. Look at Highguard, for example. But here's what I'm talking about. I know I get a little bit lost in the sauce when I'm talking about disrespect, and it's not necessarily that they're spitting in your face legit, but they hide it. They hide the disrespect. And then when players find it out, oh, you guys are bad, man. You guys always want to dig into things. You guys always want to treat us like we don't give you guys what you want. Every time we give you guys what you want, you guys just complain. Well, have you ever thought that when we get something we want, we buy? And when you give us things we don't want, we leave. Look at this. $10 plus 100 bonus. Boy, if there was a bonus, why not just add the 100? These bonuses never leave. Why even add the bonus? Oh, because it makes you think that you're getting more on your money? Disrespectful, bro. Look at this pack. Tracer pack, the Major Hunter. Black Ops 7 and Warzone. Black Ops 7 and Warzone. 1,600. How much can I get? How much is that skin, you may ask? Oh my goodness. There's only one way I can get it. I can buy the 1,000 CP and 500. That's $15. What if I just get the one with the 400 bonus? That's what? So you're telling me I gotta pay 70 and 20? I'm leaving you in the dust, boy. That's why you got 40%, and I hope it goes down. Look, lowest recorded price was $45. If you know anything about Call of Duty, getting it cheap is crazy rare. You guys remember back in the day, Call of Duty used to release DLC map packs, and it used to be like $30, and you would get 4 updates with 4 maps, and you were locked out of it if you didn't pay for it. You would get zombies and usually like 2 or 3 multiplayer maps and maybe a skin. But the skins in the game were give or take $5. I mean, if you play Black Ops 2, you know pretty much the skins were for like $5. And you would buy a pack, and it went to every single gun. Every single gun got the bacon camo when I bought the bacon camo. Now, you buy a tracer pack, and your one gun gets 1 camo, and your character, the only character that you can use this on is 1. So you're spending $20 to get 1 gun and 1 character looking cool. So you know what you do if you're a Call of Duty fan that likes to spend a lot of money? You continuously buy. By that point, you've already spent more than it used to cost to buy the DLC packs. So you tell me what's more anti-consumer. Making you buy maps that are good, or giving you maps that are mid-free remakes of old maps and then selling you skins for $30. The best thing to come out of current day Call of Duty is that their updates are free. Everything else is bad. Terrible. Bad decisions by Activision. Arc Raiders is a game that I believe Embark respects their player base, because they respond when you say something. And they take into consideration when their player base doesn't feel good about something, and they change it. Whether it's buffs, nerfs, bringing content to the game, asking for these things to be added, they at least consider it. They at least acknowledge it. If any of those previous games I showed were to acknowledge anything currently, they would make such a substantial difference to the way players receive them. Slay of the Spire. That's why indie games are blowing up. Indie games are blowing up, and it's not because they're the best games in the world, dude. There are games that are better. And I'm not necessarily picking on Slay the Spire 2. I'm just saying that sometimes an indie game comes out, and there's a better alternative. That doesn't even matter. Because if the player base feels respected and acknowledged, they're going to gravitate towards that. Slay the Spire 2 absolutely deserves this number and success, because there's so much content-rich, in-depth build-upons from the last game, and they already respected their previous fan base, and they grabbed all those people along with them, and now you got a game that's breaking records for them, making them a ton of money. It's paying respect to us. They respect themselves and us. These other companies like Activision, Sony, Bungie, they don't respect themselves. An exception to the rest. Good old Capcom. And it's not even that much of an exception, because what happened with Monster Hunter Wilds was crazy. And Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, I played both of them, and I quite frankly enjoyed them, but I completely understand the negative sentiment towards the lack of optimization and the lack of feedback. But you know, for some reason, when it comes to Resident Evil, I don't know what it is. It's like Capcom just pulls up their pants, and anytime that Resident Evil is coming along, they completely lock in. Because Resident Evil came out, and it's probably one of the best looking games in the Resident Evil franchise. It is the best looking game in the Resident Evil franchise. It runs better on my PC than Resident Evil 4, 3, and 2. That is crazy to me. I don't even know what they did to make it run this good. I just know that's the reason there's almost a 95% positive rating on this game, and why it sold over 300,000 copies on just Steam. Because Capcom respected its fans of survival horror and people who liked playing as Leon. You imagine if Leon was killed in the first 10 minutes of the game, just shot in the head by Victor. You imagine what type of feedback that would have been? You think that that's because they're bad at storytelling? No, that's because they understand their fan base, they respect who their fan base likes, and they support that person. God of War is a perfect example. They were talking about, oh, they're going to release another game, but it's not going to be with Kratos. It's going to get poor reception. It doesn't even have to be a bad game, y'all. It's just about not respecting the player base. Even Repo, another indie title. Look at the all-time peak. This is a game that I spent so much time on because I genuinely thought that this indie developer just paid so much respect to the people that played the game. Feedback, talking to people, replying to their messages. Hollow Knight Silksong, oh my goodness. Blockbuster hit when it came out. You know why? It was cheap, firstly, was fun to play, built upon the first one, and paid respect to us. Because it knows that you played the last one most likely. Just love that about these indie games. I just love it, man. I love it. Runs up my veins. It just makes me feel good when I see a company saying, we hear you, we respect you, and we will adjust so that you purchase our product. Not, I am the best storyteller in the world. I have made Last of Us, so suck it. Just because you don't like how the story is played doesn't mean that you have to say you don't like it. Just don't play it. Just don't buy it. Well, how do you get your money, bruh? How do you make your money? By me opening up my wallet? Actually, when you tell people not to buy your game, you're shooting yourself in the foot, you idiot. Hades 2. Boy, oh boy. Was runner-up to Game of the Year last year. And I genuinely can say Supergiant Games is another company that deserves respect because they respected their clientele. With all this being shown, with all this being taken in, one of the consistent things between these indie titles is that they're cheap, their developers pay respect to us, and they always give feedback to our concerns. Marathon is not going to succeed because people already know who Bungie is and was. Bungie used to make good games. After Destiny 2, a ton of people got negative feelings about Bungie, and especially how Sony has been operating here recently, closing down studios like Bluepoint, talking about raising prices. Xbox too. It's a sad thing to see, but that is the difference. Today's topic was just about AAA lack of respect, and that is the reason why they're going to continue to fail until one of these companies understands that the player base is the player base and they are who's going to spend the money. They will never succeed. Every game they release will be substantially worse, and it'll keep getting worse and worse and worse until they're starting to lose so much money that they can't recover. Think about it. Santa Monica Studios made God of War for the PS4 and God of War Ragnarok for the PS5. That is 2 games per generation of console. I mean, 1 game per generation of console. Naughty Dog, 1 game per generation. And you know what? Naughty Dog hasn't even released a game for the PS5. Yeah. You know what? I take that back. Actually, I don't, because they have not. They're talking about this new game, and you know why it will not sell well? Why it won't be the blockbuster hit that The Last of Us series was, or Uncharted? Because they've already disrespected the fan base. They've already said that the reason we don't like it is because they're incels. Dude, the reason people don't like your games is because you're stuck up. And I hope that you guys continue with that because, like I said, I love it and it runs through my veins. Top game coming out right now, Crimson Desert. And right now I can tell you that game's going to pop off. And it's going to pop off not because it's the best game on the market, not because it's the best at everything it does in the game, not because it's so content rich. It's going to get a dub because of the respect the devs have put out to the consumers. With that being said, I hope you guys continue to have a good weekend. Leave a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.